Hey, community group leaders. This is super weird because Bryce is holding my iPhone right now and I'm just talking to you, but we're just going to do it. All right, I have a whiteboard behind me, so I feel really good right now. We wanted to give you some information that we didn't quite get to at our last All Leader meeting, particularly concerning how to train apprentices and an upcoming basic training that we're going to do. We're actually going to talk about it in 2 days on Sunday, March 5th, but before we got up and talked about all this in front of the congregation, we're going to talk with you guys about it and loop you into it first. One, so that we honor you, and two, because we have a role that we'd love for you to play. So I'm going to take the phone from Bryce and just talk over a whiteboard now. All right, so our next All Leader meeting, get the glare off, is on Sunday night, March 19th. But shortly thereafter, we're going to run a basic training for anybody who is interested in becoming a community group leader. So it's going to be on Saturday, April 1st, and it's going to run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Hanley Road. So it's a 6-hour crash course, which is a lot shorter than what many of you had to go through, but we're trying to expedite it so that we can get more people interested and trained up and involved. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how we're going to communicate about that. First, we wanted to tell you guys so that you could have conversations with your community group members, and we'll equip you to do that. But second, we are going to talk to the entire church about this Sunday in a couple days. And here is what we are going to say to them, broadly speaking. We're going to have the whole executive leadership team get up there, and I'm going to start by talking about our vision, our mission, some of our core values, and then our strategies, particularly the 5 rhythms. And then I'm going to give a little bit of a State of the Union, which is that all told we have 13 groups, 165 people in them, so it's about 48% of the church. But our desire is to open up more seats in community groups, and the way that we can do that is to develop more leaders. And so Bryce and Ty are going to get up and share some stories about some of the things that are going on in their groups, particularly in Bryce's group about some of the friendships, and in Ty's group about some of the mission projects and work that they have done, so that we can have some stories about some of the 5 rhythms to just inspire and encourage our church. And then Doja's going to talk a little bit about the basic training that we're going to do on April 1st, that anybody can come. You don't have to commit to being a community group leader, but it is focused on developing people as community group leaders. And then Sarah's going to talk a little bit about the pathway to becoming a leader for those that are interested, which is over here. All right, so here's the prerequisites to becoming a leader. Here's the pathway. First, you have to be a Christian, and to the left, you'll see that the Trinity does that work. Second, you have to become a member. Our Pathway to Membership team leads that. Third, our executive leadership team and community groups will take you through our 6-hour basic training. But fourth, we believe an apprenticeship is an incredibly important part of becoming a full-fledged leader, and so we imagine that happening in 3 different ways. One, if you're somebody who's already in a community group and you come to our basic training, we are going to encourage those people to formalize their apprenticeship with you guys, their leaders, in the hopes that they could either launch a new group in September, or they could just become formal co-leaders in your group and launch if and when the Lord leads them to do so. If we get people who come to our basic training who are not currently into groups, this is where you guys come in. We have no idea how many people that's going to be. It could be 0 people, it could be 20 people. We have no idea who's going to come, but we'd like to be able to plug those people into pre-existing groups so that they could at least apprentice for the months of April and May, and then they could determine if they want to keep apprenticing in your group in the fall and launch later, if they want to launch in September, or if they just want to become formal co-leaders in your group, however the Spirit of God leads them. But we want to plug those people into groups. So one of the questions we're going to have for you guys is, are there any of you leaders who feel like your group could welcome some brand new apprentices who are looking to become leaders into your group? And then the third option that we thought of for what to do with brand new people who are not currently in community groups who come to our basic training is we're toying around with the idea of creating a group over the summer that is just for leaders, and that somebody from our executive leadership team potentially could lead that group. So we could train up all those new leaders in the summer, and they could launch groups in September. But we haven't firmly decided on that yet. That's just an idea that we have for how to give these new potential leaders a meaningful apprenticeship experience so they get some on-the-job training. After their apprenticeship, they'll have an interview with the executive leadership team, and then we will work with them to develop their launch strategy, both prayerfully and judiciously. So that's the flow for new leaders moving into launching their groups. And we'll talk about that briefly on Sunday for the leadership pathway, and then we'll end by saying you can email us, you can talk to us after the service, or we would love to get coffee with you. And then just to finally reiterate what it is that we are specifically asking you guys to consider is this. We would love for you to talk to your co-leaders, and if you want to, even your whole community group, to see if your group wants to welcome a new apprentice in April. And again, that's assuming that we actually have a crop of new apprentices who go through our basic training, which is not a given, but that's what we're working and praying towards. Second, we were hoping you would be willing to just tell your group about the basic training, cast a little vision for it in your meeting next week. And that if anybody is interested, you would let us know. You could send their info to us at communityhr@thejourney.org so that we could reach out to them and get them information and maybe take them out to coffee, whatever. And then lastly, even if nobody in your group is interested, if you personally think one of your community group members would be a great leader, tell us about it and tell them. Send them an encouraging email and ask them to consider to go to the basic training. A lot of people will do things if they get a personal invitation, whereas if it's just a general invitation, they don't really think about it in terms of being for them. So those are the ways in which we would really love for you to collaboratively help us to identify and then train up new leaders so that we can have more seats and more community groups at the church. So we hope that makes sense, and we hope to hear from you soon about any follow-up from these action items, and we're looking forward to talking on Sunday. Thanks, guys. See ya.